It has been decided. Tennessee going to the postseason. Little bit of, Tennessee hatred going on from the committee. We're talking Tennessee. We're talking CFP. We are Tennessee Fan Talk.
Vols fans, the best fans in football. Rowdy, passionate, dedicated. And this is where Vol Nation comes to talk. Welcome to the hottest spot for all things Tennessee Vols. This is Tennessee Fan Talk, where the orange and white comes to life with a dash of humor, a sprinkle of wit, and a whole lot of Southern charm, bringing you the latest updates, breaking news, and some good old-fashioned laughs along the way. We're the water cooler chat you wish you were having at the office, minus the boring stats. Whether you bleed orange or you're just dipping your toes into the world of Tennessee sports, this is for everybody. It's loud, it's proud, it's Tennessee Fan Talk. And now your hosts, Byrd and The Duke.
Who has to go on the road and face Ohio State as the 9 seed? The Tennessee Volunteers. And Big Orange really hoping that they were going to get a home game. Instead, they'll travel not too far away and go to Columbus.
And the fact that they didn't get a home game, I wouldn't be disappointed seeing the way that Ohio State hasn't stopped the run. We know that Tennessee's going to run the football with Dylan Sampson. So all things being equal, if you're Josh Heupel, you got to feel pretty good about going to Columbus.
Yeah, I think if you're Tennessee, you probably like the opportunity. You like the matchup. Every team you play is going to be tough. But the one area that Ohio State has struggled with is along their own offensive line. What is the best part of Tennessee's team? Their defensive front. So I think that matchup will be fascinating to see if Ohio State's O-line can solidify here before this first-round game.
Kirk?
Do we like that we are not playing in Knoxville? No. You got the Bird. You got the Duke. You've got Tennessee Fan Talk, and we're going to talk everything about this upcoming game.
I mean, some people say blitz, baby, blitz. If you're an Alabama fan, well, I say sit, baby, sit. Your butt at home because you ain't going.
I had a couple different ways of doing an intro on here. One of them was going to be about, the differences between Saban and DeBoer. Was if Saban was the coach, they would have been in.
I mean, I think what it's proven the fact of the matter now is that going forward, everyone is going to be starting to schedule bigger games, which is great for the sport. Instead of us playing or Alabama playing Kent State or playing whoever else Alabama played outside, Kennesaw State, whoever. You might see us play some ACC schools.
It's like they need to have that extra, I lost against Georgia or I lost against Texas in the regular season. But this team that you think should have been in here, this SMU or this Penn State, we beat the crap out of them.
Or I mean, you could spin zone the other way too, and saying, well, if they don't care about strength of schedule, which apparently doesn't look like they care about that too much.
That's what Saban was talking about today.
Put me to ETSU on the schedule 4 games.
Come on, Buccaneers,
Bucks. So, but. We don't want to harp on it too much, but we're not going to talk about the team that didn't make it this year, Alabama. After that, that's all I got to say about that one is what Forrest Gump would say. That's all I got to say about that. That's probably what they're talking about down there. It's how they sound like.
Dude, did you know that Alabama didn't get in today?
No. Are you sure? I wouldn't believe it. And if you're talking about Tennessee not getting a home game, if you don't think that the NCAA's calling the selection committee and putting a little bug in there saying these sons of guns have sued us, don't give them anything. We've got the hardest path, and it's crazy what they done to Oregon too. I would hate it. if Oregon was smart, they would have broke the rules and thrown that damn game last night. That's what they should have done. They should have thrown the game. Because they would. Penn State has a cakewalk. They play Boise State in the second round.
Dude. Speaking,
I mean, it wouldn't end up that way, but still.
Let's talk. First of all, and all of this show is going to boil down to, can Tennessee beat them? And we're gonna go through. We're gonna look at Ohio State's schedule. We're gonna look at Tennessee's schedule. We're gonna look at stats for both teams. Most importantly, we're gonna look at the power index and talk about why this game was not in Knoxville. And I don't agree with the crew there on ESPN saying, "Oh, they're not gonna mind." This is going up. Ohio State fans are gonna be booing Day because of losing to Michigan. No, they're not. They still have a path to the end. They still have a way to take home the trophy. And they're going to be playing like their lives depend on it. And Tennessee, again, gets absolutely scrawled.
Sure. I mean, if I can bring a bit of good news to the Ohio State fans, since they seem to love Michigan more than they love themselves. In a roundabout way, they hate them so much. It's like one of those psychology things. If you hate someone, you actually love them. Same way with them. They get to play Alabama in the bowl game this year. Or Michigan does. Excuse me. Michigan is playing Alabama in whatever bowl game it is. I can't remember the Alquest Bowl or whatever. It's
whatever it's gonna be.
The Monarchy Break Bowl, the Flavor Rich Milk Bowl. If you know what I'm saying, from the East Side. I don't know, but. Michigan's going to get there, so don't worry.
Pet Milk Bowl.
Sure, yeah.
Going through and looking at this schedule, we'll start with the Buckeyes because we know ours, right?
Sure.
So we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. Let's start and go through theirs, and they want to use strength of schedule. They should be using strength of schedule when they're making these picks, and especially when choosing who gets home field advantage. I mean, you would think the strength of schedule would be one of the more prominent markers to who gets home field advantage. Ohio State opens up the season hosting Akron.
In-state rivalry.
WMU was the second game.
Western Michigan University.
Yeah, which they beat. So they beat Akron 52-6. They beat WMU 56-0.
Playing a bunch of Yankee Doodles.
Marshall comes into town. We are Marshall.
I mean, they died in an airplane crash, and they still never came back. They never came back from that one. But Matthew McConaughey was in it. The movie. He played the head coach. He was on the plane, of course.
They go to Michigan State and beat them.
Okay, so now we're getting into a team that's probably the equivalent of Vanderbilt, if not a little less.
They host Iowa and beat them 35-7.
They host the I'm trying to put some SEC equivalents to their Big Ten opponents. I would give Iowa Auburn.
I was going to say Mizzou, but same color scheme.
No, I was going to give them Auburn because their fans seem to have a little bit of coldiness to them. I don't know, from afar, they're very popular and out that way, but they have nothing else but corn and deer hunting. And
they go to Oregon.
Okay, so that you could equivalent to Texas or Georgia this year.
And they lose by 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Got to go look at Oregon to see their actual, what they've gone through. I don't think it's much better.
They are undefeated, though. That's tough to do anyway.
They are, anyway, correct. I mean, that's hard to do anytime anyway. Harder to do in the SEC. But then they host Nebraska. Not the Nebraska of the 90s, the Nebraska of now.
That's the equivalent of us.
How really? I agree.
The fans are crazy. They have very similar go big red, go big orange, which is a mixture of red and yellow. And they think like it's our year every year before the season starts. Right. It's our year.
We brought back home the prodigals.
Yeah, it's very similar.
It really is. and last relevant in the 90s. You know, it's
yeah.
Ohio State and Penn State in November the 2nd, where Ohio State
Give them
won.
Georgia. You give them Georgia. I'm telling you,
know?
I'm rolling.
They host Purdue and beat them 45-0.
I don't know who that could be. We don't have anybody that bad.
They go
Mississippi State, perhaps
this year. Yeah,
sure.
They go to Northwestern and beat them 31-7.
I'm running out of teams, folks.
They host Indiana and beat them 38-15. And then they host Michigan and lose.
I give Indiana the equivalent to South Carolina, except South Carolina's probably better this year.
So a 2-loss teams. I'm going to have to go through and see how many of these were ranked opponents at the time that they played them. Penn State definitely was. Oregon was. Indiana was. I think that's it.
So, I mean, that's the $1 million question, right? Because like I've seen people floating around today that Texas hasn't beaten a ranked opponent all year. Is that at the time of the crime, or is that at the end of, because like they beat Texas A&M, which was ranked at the time, but now they're not. So does it so the way if ranking when you play the game doesn't matter, they should just rank it at the end of the year and who cares?
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like with us playing, we had one ranked win all year, I guess, technically. Right?
No.
Us beating Alabama. Who else?
Had more than that.
Who?
Was Florida ranked when we played them? Or was that too? Yeah, it was too late in the year. I think they had already shot.
They weren't ranked, but North Carolina State was ranked when we played them. Oklahoma was ranked when we played them, and Alabama was ranked when we played them. But at the end of the season, I think the only team that's ranked is Alabama. I don't have it called in front of me, but I'm just going off the top of my head. Mississippi State, no. Florida, no. Loss of Georgia, but yes. Alabama, yes. Vanderbilt, no.
We're going to pop over to Tennessee's. And then we're going to look at that.
So the AP ranking is out of date if that's what they go off of now, or any other ranking. Like they shouldn't rank anyone, let's just say the last 2 weeks of the season. And it still don't matter.
And Saban said the same thing. He's like, if these rankings mean nothing, then
don't rank them.
Yeah, then come on.
We're going down the path of having only two conferences, divisions, or whatever you want to play each other. It'll be Big Ten versus the SEC. They'll give me the top 4 out of each conference, and sorry everybody else.
Right.
That is the path, because Greg Sankey's probably heated right now. He's probably even mad at Kirby Smart saying that that's what you get for giving us such a hard schedule and sending us on the road all year. Suck it, Greg. Give him a D-Generation X.
So in the week, let's see, that would be week 6, right? Ohio State.
And Ohio State's only win against a ranked opponent would be Penn State.
Yeah.
And then Texas win again. The best thing that happened to Texas' schedule this year was the 2 losses. That's the best thing that's happened to schedule. Is Texas is they lost to Georgia twice.
So Tennessee, of course, opened up beating Chattanooga.
Yep.
Playing NC State, they were ranked when we played NC State.
I know it was NC State, Oklahoma, and Georgia and Alabama.
and Georgia and
But I'm
Alabama.
talking about teams we played. That were ranked.
Kent State 71-0, of course. Oklahoma ranked at the time that we played them, 25-15. The loss, 5-point loss to Arkansas, which really hurt us. The overtime win against Florida, the win over Alabama, win over Kentucky, Mississippi State, the losing in Athens, 56-0 on UTEP, and then beating little brother Vanderbilt to cap that off.
And Diego Pavia.
So they had, replay that back, we played 3 ranked opponents at the time.
It depends on how you look at it.
Ohio State played 2. Beat 1, lost 1.
Yep.
Unless Indiana was their 3rd.
Oh, I mean, Indiana's ranked, yes. They still are.
November 23rd. Which would have been, what, week?
Pretty recently.
Released 24th. Okay, so Indiana was 10th at the time.
They were the darlings of the NCAA football this year.
Yeah. So 3 and 3, we have that. That's the exact same between us. We want to get into some stats, and most importantly is that Power Index 2024 of showing why we'd be home. So looking at the playing against ranked opponents, dead even. So now we're going to dive a little further right after this.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like going to work on one Thursday morning and thinking to yourself, just one more day until Friday. But then somebody in the elevator says, Happy Friday! Then you check your phone quickly and discover today is actually Friday. So yes, Happy Friday, random stranger in the elevator. Happy Friday indeed. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico. How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like going to work on one Thursday morning and thinking to yourself, just one more day until Friday. But then somebody in the elevator says, Happy Friday! Then you check your phone quickly and discover today is actually Friday. So yes, Happy Friday, random stranger in the elevator. Happy Friday indeed. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
Wherever you are, we are. And we are at TN Fan Talk. Would you like to be on the show? We'd love to have you. Find our link tree in the show description. No experience or equipment is needed. Now, back to Tennessee Fan Talk. Here's Byrd and The Duke.
Hey, Tennessee fans. You got the Duke, you got Byrd. First half of the show, of course, going through and looking at the schedule of Ohio State, schedule of Tennessee. We've both played the equal amount of ranked opponents from AP, and now looking at stats. And a little bit of spoiler is they're pretty close on a few of them.
Sure.
So, scoring. Points per game, Tennessee 37.25. Ohio State 35.5. Total of 447 versus 426. First downs, 287 for Tennessee, 248 for Ohio State. Rushing, 2,790 yards. Versus 2,030. That's an average. We're at average of 232 a game. They're at 169.
Criminal that Sampson's not getting as much more love than he is. Anyway,
32 rushing touchdowns.
That's us, correct?
32. Yeah, they had 24.
Okay.
Now, we had a lot more attempts. We had 545 attempts to their 405, of course, because why not use what you got?
Sure.
Passing, 343
This is per game, correct?
Attempts. This is total.
Oh, okay.
343 attempts, 222 completions, 7 interceptions. They are 344 attempts. Just one more. 242 completions, 8 interceptions. Average per attempt, Tennessee, 8.08, 8.87 for the Buckeyes. Averaging per game, 230 yards for Tennessee, 254. Total, 2,771 passing yards, 3,052. So now you look at that total offense, and it's it's close, right?
Yeah, razor's edge, considering that Ohio State has what everyone says, all the talking heads on TV, that they have the most talented roster in America.
Total yards, 5,561 for Tennessee, 5,082 for Ohio. We have 55 touchdowns. They have 57. Now, I want to roll back just a second here.
That's the old Walmart slogan, folks. Roll back.
Roll back. And here's opponents versus opponents. Now, here's where strength of schedule plays in a little bit. So we allow scoring 13.92. Some of those crap games really contributed to that.
Yeah, Kent State and UTEP. Thank you. It's like on your scorecard as a student. Your grade book when you're in class, and that 1-0 kills your overall average. When you're trying to get as high as you can, of course.
Ohio State 10.92 for 131 total. Our total was 167. We have allowed 201 first downs. They've allowed 170.
I think what we're getting to, folks,
rushing
is that razor thin between both of them.
Rushing, we've allowed 1,195. They've allowed 1,162. Passing, we've allowed 2,144. They've allowed 1,731. We've allowed 20 touchdowns. Ohio's allowed 14.
Well, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is now. I ain't afraid to rolling up there, but I'm also...
Here's the one thing that I hate. 99 penalties for 819 yards Tennessee has made. 52 penalties for 481 yards.
Let me put my tinfoil cap back on and say, NCAA's making a call, talking to old Greg. Say, hey, old Greg.
Everybody knows old Greg.
Everybody knows that YouTube. Where's my shoe?
I'm not fishing. What's this hooked in, mother lacka?
Yeah. Hey, old Greg. How about you just pump the brakes? Because Tennessee's really good at baseball, and they're really good at basketball, and they seem to be coming back in women's basketball. They can't be good at everything, and we're mad at them because they sued us because they in our mind they illegally recruited Nico Iamaleava, which is kind of Joe Milton 2.0. So maybe we're not so mad, but
dude. Time of possession, 29:46, 29:54. Total, that's average per game. Total, 557, 558.
I mean, if I'm being honest with you, Byrd, I quit listening to stats a long time ago. So all we know is that it's razor thin and that the committee has weighed in and saying that a loss against a 6-8 Michigan team was not as bad at home, was not as bad as a loss on the road to the Tippmann and company. Bobby Petrino and his neck roll and the Tippmann. In the land of Arkansas and Jerry Jones. I mean, the land of Walmart and Jerry Jones, excuse me.
They have been sacked a few more times. And then they've only got sacks for loss 75 yards. We've done 115.
You have to think that we're going to get up there, and it's just going to be
segment 1. Who's played ranked opponents more? Neck and neck. Segment 2. Stats. Neck and neck. So that brings us to the college football power index for this year.
I think what'd you say in pre-show? I'm going to just spill the beans right now. What do you say? We're 1 point ahead of them or something?
Strength of schedule. We are 28. They are 29. And then you go to strength of record. Okay.
Which is the exact same, folks. Exact same.
We're 6. They're 7. On that alone, being that everything else is so close, Tennessee should have had the home.
I mean, if you look at this outside of Oregon, but obviously they're not going to get that, you could argue that we would have the highest and the best home field advantage out of any other team.
Yeah.
I mean, up there, the Catholics ain't going to be very loud. Indiana sits 12 people. SMU, I don't even know where that is. I know where it is, but
that's funny. Because I know you know where it is, but it's
Smack You Mama University. That's what you're going to call it. Clemson, Death Valley Junior. Texas. I mean, I'm sure that some sports book runs a line on how many times that they're going to show Matthew McConaughey. And you always bet the over.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy. How many times they showed him in that opening of the
it's probably
I was
the
like,
line
good
was probably
Lord.
6.5, and they showed him 8 times. Take it. We haven't talked about it yet, Byrd. I don't know if we're going to.
We can,
but your boy on the SEC championship game. I mean, I'm an idiot. I'm by no means an analyst, but every other analyst in the freaking world said Texas is going to beat Georgia, not the Duke.
I had, as you know, I had Texas.
Texas has legitimately played no one.
I had Texas.
It is crazy. This cupcake schedule they had. Thank you, Kirby Smart, and your terrible barking fans and the Bulldogs for keeping Texas. How miserable would that have been? Said, "Oh, Texas, we stroll right in and we win SEC championship first year."
That I am glad that the Dogs won it. You had Georgia 35-17.
Yeah, now don't we ain't talking points here. We talking just Georgia's backup quarterback.
I mean, come in there looking great.
Quinn Ewers might low key stink.
He's on College Football 2024. He can't stink.
He also looks like a younger version of Paul Wall. Put him a grill in, and he looks like Paul Wall.
He's making everybody's
his hair.
grills.
I'm telling you, he's probably from the Houston area. He looks like Paul Wall. Give him a grill. I bet he has one. I bet he owns a grill.
Even if it's made of aluminum foil.
No, it ain't no, buddy. He's fine. He ain't got to play in the league. He made enough money playing at Texas. And he's getting paid for his legals too there, probably. Allegedly.
I cannot believe that they have Texas Longhorns strength of schedule at 20. They're saying that their schedule was harder than ours.
I'm telling you, the best thing Texas done all year was lose twice to Georgia.
That's crazy.
I mean, they did play Michigan in the opener.
I feel like they shouldn't have let Notre Dame in because they're independent. But sorry, you got to join a conference.
I mean, they also got beat by Northern Illinois.
Their one loss was
and it was
that
funny
bad.
as crap because they beat Notre Dame Northern Illinois. And the next week, they were ranked. And I'm like, what? And then they sucked the rest of the year.
And then, whatever happened to that team that beat Notre Dame? They hung it up. They just closed the football program on a high note.
Because what shocked me is that that at the end of the day, you got to chase the money trail. And Alabama brings in a lot more money than SMU, but good on the college football. They had to do something.
I was shocked because listening to those guys on the show, I mean, they really wanted Alabama in there.
Well, sure. What's his name? Reese Davis? Not Reese. Is it Reese Davis? Is that his name?
You got.
He graduated from Alabama.
You got McElroy in there. You know,
he's the epitome of back when. Remember back when I was a quarterback and I remember that? He's the epitome of that. That's like the high school guys. You remember when I blew it by that kid at Science Hill playing it? You know, that's him.
Remember in that football game where I had 400 rushing yards against Nashville School of the Blind?
Yeah. Back when we played Sullivan South, it doesn't even exist anymore.
Oh,
I mean, these football analysts are like school teachers, right? You go to school and you go to college and you're still going to school to what? Stay in school.
Yep.
Play football. I'm really good at football, so I'm going to sit around and talk football.
I was good at that, so that's what I'm going to do. Tennessee, a couple weeks to get their injured.
Hey, we didn't talk about the Lady Vols. They're undefeated, and the men's basketball team.
We're going to talk about them.
I watched the most women's basketball I have in years, and it was 5 minutes, and I couldn't take it anymore. The other night when they were playing Florida State, that's the first time I've watched them in years, and it will more than likely be the last time I watch them because I can't stand it. Hey, take your blessings, folks. We're in. That's all that matters.
And those issuing out the black and orange jerseys on the floor was amazing.
You're talking about the men's basketball team, of course, right? Yeah.
Yes.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like going to work on one Thursday morning and thinking to yourself, just one more day until Friday. But then somebody in the elevator says, Happy Friday! Then you check your phone quickly and discover today is actually Friday. So yes, Happy Friday, random stranger in the elevator. Happy Friday indeed. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico. How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like going to work on one Thursday morning and thinking to yourself, just one more day until Friday. But then somebody in the elevator says, Happy Friday! Then you check your phone quickly and discover today is actually Friday. So yes, Happy Friday, random stranger in the elevator. Happy Friday indeed. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.